Class 197 means 67. Servo motors. Servo means slave, means it will do our job continuously, perfectly, means it will be controlling the requirement here, position, speed, or velocity according to our need. So it is a motor, okay. It is a linear or rotary actuator. Actually, it is a rotary actuator with rack and pinion arrangement. We can get linear motion also. It is always used in closed loop control. It controls the position, speed, acceleration of a load motor, say precisely and accurately, and also the response is very fast. Why it is needed? Normal motors rotate continuously, but sometimes we need rotation within two angles, say door hinge or a drawer. In a drawer, you move the or take CD tray in a computer or laptop. There, the tray, CD tray, moves between only for a limited motion. Or suppose a door hinge or automatic door or arms of a robot. All these require precise control and very good torque response. Okay, these are required. Working principle is it has a motor, okay, it has four things together: a motor and a sensor and a feedback circuit and then a controller. All these four, in the olden days, four devices were separate. Nowadays, all these four come as together in a single package like this. See here, one, two, three, four parts are there. See here we have encoder. Okay, so the four parts are the motor and a gear mechanism box. Sorry, so four parts are a motor and a gearbox, and then a sensor, and then a circuit. Why gearbox is required is, see, motor rotates faster, but a robotic arm or a CD tray or a door hinge, okay, door, it should not rotate with such a fast speed, and hence we require lower speed but also higher torque. When you decrease the speed, angular velocity, the torque will be increasing. So what happens is, see here, this is servo motor, this is gearbox, and then motor shaft. Okay, to this is the motor shaft to which the load is connected. See, by this gear arrangement, the output torque will be more. You know, power is equal to T omega. P is equal to T omega. If omega is more, T will be less. If omega is less, T will be more. So at the motor shaft, omega will be high, T will be less. But at the after the gearbox, at the output shaft, there omega will be less, T will be more. Now, a servo motor is normal motor, say DC motor or AC motor, but has some extra features which regular motor does not have. And it is having a feedback circuit, gear reduction box, and then a control circuit. These are the features. Now, a servo motor, its construction is a little bit changed to obtain high torque for a given current. Normal motors do not have high torque response. Servo motors are designed with less diameter and more length. Length of the motor will be more, diameter will be less, so inertia of the motor will be less. Hence, response to a given torque will be high. They are comparatively more expensive. They are compact. Okay. The torque speed characteristics are made linear and large negative slope. See here, normal DC motor, we have like this speed torque, third figure. Okay. You have this. You have torque with respect to armature current. If you increase the armature resistance, the drooping will be more. It will fast, it will decrease, it will become like this. Okay. So what happens is, for a normal separately excited DC motor, it will be like this. But for a servo motor, it will become like this. The advantage of this is, as at high speed, the torque should reduce. Otherwise, it will go out of control. Because servo motors are not designed to carry continuous loads. That means it is designed to operate in limited duty cycle. So by increasing armature resistance or rotor resistance in an induction motor, AC motors are also used for control purpose. Then such AC motors are called as AC servo motors. When DC motors are used for control purpose, such DC motors are called as DC servo motors. See, normally the curve of a induction motor is like this. Okay. So normally an induction motor has X by R large. It will have high reactance, rotor reactance, less rotor resistance. So it will be like this. You know that. It will be like this normally. Okay. R2 is low, X2 is high. When R2 is increased, it will become like this. If you increase further, it will become like this. See, it was like this. If you increase R2, it will become like this. Increase further like this, then like this. So if you increase further, it will become like this. So almost a linear with negative slope. Advantage of having this high negative slope is we get viscous damping, means high damping. See, a robotic arm should stop very fast. It should stop. It should. It should have high damping. Else, the operation will be sluggish. Hence, we need high damping but smooth damping. Hence, this particular characteristics will give us that operation. See, normal characteristics will be like this for a separately excited DC motor. As armature resistance is increased, it will droop like this, like this, like this. Finally, you will get like this. Okay, that is what is shown here. This may not be exactly like this. This can be like this. Okay. See, series motor. Normally, it has like this. When you increase, it will become like this, drooping further. Slope will increase. Here, separately excited. Here, series excited. This is for voltage control. Speed versus torque for different for sorry for yes armature voltage control, and this is for flux control. Okay, anyhow, this is not required. Only these two figures are enough for you, 1 and 2. Even this is not so important. If flux is maintained constant, then torque versus armature current will be a straight line. Okay, servo motors are usually operated with constant torque. Shunt motor is decoupled, means it is operated as separately excited, and full flux is given. You know that T is proportional to flux and armature current. If flux is constant, then torque is proportional to armature current. Hence, we get this curve. Note that these two will be same for a constant flux drive. Torque versus speed or current versus speed will be almost same. For a separately excited or a shunt motor, okay, almost same. So you have this speed versus torque. Okay, why here blank is because see, at zero torque there cannot be any speed at zero torque. So that is what is why some gap is shown here. Okay, okay, this is this is actually not necessary to you. Normally manufacturers will give two curves, continuous rating and peak rating. Continuous performance and peak or intermittent performance. Servo motors are usually designed for intermittent operation, not for continuous rating. They are usually designed for 180-degree movement or 210, depending upon some manufacturers. because a robotic arm will rotate say maximum 180 degrees, not more than that. CD tray, there also you need only so much degrees. So servo motors are not designed to take full load, continuous load. Hence, such servo motors are called as positional rotation servo motors. But there are also what is called as continuous rotation servo motors. For example, in case of radar and some tracking applications, there the dish or whatever the load is there, it will be continuously rotating, but slow, not with the intention to do some mechanical work like that. So servo motors are used, applications are like this. It takes load, but not heavy load. There, it takes load, say in printing presses, etc. Classifications, we have AC and DC types. In AC, we have induction and synchronous. In induction, we have two phase and three phase. Synchronous servo motors are usually permanent magnet rotor. Rotor will be a permanent magnet. So, no brush. If there is no brush, the advantage is less maintenance, high reliability, longer life, and even speed can be higher. If there is brush, high speed cannot be achieved. There is limit. But if there is no brush, you can have very high speeds, say 20 kilo RPM or even up to 50,000 RPM. In DC servo motors, we have series, separately excited, or permanent magnet. Permanent magnet means a shunt motor which is operated as separately only, but the rotor has now, sorry, the stator has now, field has a permanent magnet. Next, we have split series. A series motor, its series winding is split into two parts so that it can be run as separately excited. No need to go in detail. Next, we have brushless DC motors, which is very similar to permanent magnet synchronous motor. The rotor is a permanent magnet. Stator is a three-phase synchronous winding. Three-phase winding 120 degrees apart, but stator is supplied by DC through a three-phase inverter. So here we will get a pulsed three-phase supply. Here we will get natural AC supply. We will give natural three-phase AC. Here we will give to the stator pulsed AC. Okay, in detail, I think you there is no need to study. If you want, you can see some YouTube search videos also. Anyhow, we should know types of servo motors, AC and DC. Now, DC servo motors come with three wires: power, ground, and control. There are many types as given in the figure, but we will study only two, these two. In syllabus, it is not mentioned which all should be studied. Hence, we will study only those two. So, separately excited, already explained, not a big issue. Flux and armature are separate, so you get high torque response. Both are independent. One is quadrature with respect to other because this will be highly inductive. That is why it is so. This will not be so inductive. And the next one, this is for different armature voltages. If you have high armature voltage, you can get this curve. If lesser, you will get this curve like that. Next, permanent magnet DC type servo motor. Another advantage of permanent magnet is there is no field heating, so no stator heating. Okay, permanent magnet in stator. Okay, it can direction can easily be reversed by just changing the polarity of supply armature voltage because field is fixed. Okay, other things are already explained. Characteristics same. Next we have AC servo motors, which can be induction or synchronous. The rotor resistance is made high by thin conductors in a squirrel cage induction motor. It can be three phase or two phase. This is a two phase motor. It has only two phases. Okay. So rotor is a high resistance one. Two phases are given here. One is excited. The fixed phase or reference phase is given a full AC voltage. The control phase is given by as per the requirement, as per the position required, the control phase voltage is applied. The position of the rotor depends upon the phase difference between the fixed phase and control phase. Fixed phase or reference phase both are same. The position of rotor depends upon the phase difference between control and reference phase. And if this is leading with respect to this, say this is rotating clockwise, if we reverse the leading to lagging and lagging, this will rotate in the anti-clockwise. Further, better torque response is obtained by having drag cup construction. Here, the stationary core is made stationary, around which a cup is rotating. So the cup is definitely light. Hence, we get faster response. Shaft is connected to the cup. This is half cut and shown to you. This will be like that, like this, and shaft here also. So core is there which helps increasing magnetic flux, but it is kept stationary so that inertia of rotor, practical inertia of rotor is less. So this gives further better response than this. So characteristics is similar to like this. Here in AC it comes outside because you have seen, you might have seen here. You can write that or you can cut also. You might have seen here. When you draw here, it is not shown. You can draw it to the left also as well also here. Okay. Anyhow, we will not go to more details. So this is the two-phase working of two-phase induction motors. Working of three-phase induction type servo motors. Okay. We will not. I did not get the idea from any book or some internet also. I don't think. I'm not sure. Even in your syllabus, there is no mention how many types you have to study. Anyhow, so we have put here two types of uh, AC motors. One is induction two phase, another one three phase synchronous type. In case you get three phase induction type motor used as servo motor, kindly help me preparing developing notes. I got only so much. So three phase synchronous type servo motor. Stator is like a synchronous motor winding, three phase winding, 120 degrees apart. Rotor will not have winding, it will be of permanent magnet. So according to the rotating magnetic field in the stator, rotor will move. That's all. Efficiency will be high because there is no rotor power loss. Okay, but the starting frequency should be less. Otherwise, you know that a synchronous motor does not have any starting torque. Anyhow, details we will not study here. Right. A typical servo system. In your syllabus, it is not mentioned whether you have to study servo system. It is mentioned only AC and DC servo motors. It is not mentioned AC or DC servo system. Anyhow, it is important to study a servo system. See, you have a servo motor which can be of various types to which load is put through gearbox. Gearbox is not shown here, and the position of the motor shaft is sensed by a potentiometer or a rotary encoder. You have studied in chapter 2 optical shaft encoder or linear motion potentiometer and rotary motion potentiometer, which detects or measures position of a shaft. Rotary motion potentiometer. In case of DC servo motors, potentiometers are usually used. In case of AC servo motors, rotary encoder, that is incremental or absolute encoders are used. So the motor is coupled to the load, okay, and the also the position sensor also will be sensing. Rotary encoder will be sensing the position. Here, what we require, the desired position or speed will be given to an op amp. This op amp is also called as programmable. Okay, here op amp is not programmable. This can be usually programmable. Okay, for complicated system. Say for simplicity, it is an op amp. Okay, a comparator. That is why plus and minus are given here. Now, the required the required position is given to the plus input of the comparator through the command block. Suppose you press a push button. When you press push button, there will be circuit here which will convert that push button, or you rotate a handle, whatever it is. It will convert that mechanical signal into an electrical signal and plus point of the comparator. The encoder output will be given to the minus 1. If the desired input and the actual shaft position are same, we will get here 0. Here output will be equal to, it is nothing but a summing amplifier. Sum means plus minus. So this is also called as summer or error detector. Since one is given to plus, another is given to minus, it is actually going to add these two. When you add these two, actually we are getting this much difference of these two. A plus minus B is nothing but A minus B. Now, if both are same, we will get here 0. The output shaft will be at the same position. If there is any error, you will get output here that will be amplified and then given to the DC motor or AC motor, which whatever it is, the servo motor, so that the shaft is brought to the desired position. So this continuously checks whether this is as per the demand, as per the command. Since there is continuously checking, this is called as closed loop control system. Okay. This is a complex circuit. Okay, there are lots of things. Some may have simple elements here, some may have complicated elements here. Just simple terms are here, not required to you. See reference input, forward controlling elements. Okay, means this computer. Okay, then you have directly controlled system, means the motor. Then we have indirectly controlled system, means load. Motor, load, and this is amplifier, and here we have computer, etc. Okay, not necessary. Now, DC servo system. In your syllabus, it is not mentioned whether this is required or not. Hence, at present, I will not take this in the video. For 18 and for 19, we will not see. Okay. So at first, if you are if you require, you can give me input. We will I will put video. Otherwise, I will put this video at the end because otherwise you will get bored or burdened by unnecessary studying. But kindly note that for 17 is important because a typical servo system you should know. AC servo system is how the system will be if this is AC motor. DC servo motor system is how the system will be if this is DC motor. Some extra aspects are given there. Now we will see small video of how to how a rotary encoder senses within a servo motor.
In my first video about rotary encoders, I have demonstrated how those devices work. I used
See here there is a sensor. Okay, you can a sensor LED and a photo detector is there. Here this is sensor here. When this rotates, see high low. See high. There are two sensors. Okay, one sensor A and sensor B. Sensor A and sensor B. See this becomes okay. See when teeth goes inside, you get when teeth goes inside, we get high. Okay, so according to how you design. Okay, so you get two pulses there. Such a disc will be there within a servo motor. See this disc will be rotating. See high low it is changing according to the sensors.
light on both sensors being blocked by two different teeth. Same as before, when turning the sensor disc counterclockwise, the initial position is reached as soon as the lower sensor gets exposed to infrared light, bringing its output to low.
So depending upon the uh, lagging and leading of these two signals, we will get the whether the direction is clockwise or anti-clockwise. This disc will be kept at the back of the servo motor. There are motors, servo motor, rotary encoder position in a servo motor. Let us see this one. See, he is removing this.
बारे में समझ लेते हैं इसके अंदर कैसे कैसे काम करता है ये। तो फ्रेंड्स ये हमने हटा दिया है। तो ये फ्रेंड्स इनकोडर है, मैं आपको पूरा पास में से ले आकर दिखा देता हूँ। ये है इनकोडर। तो इसके बैक साइड में फ्रेंड्स ये आपको दिख जाए तो मैं आपको दिखाने की कोशिश पूरी करूँगा। इसके अंदर जो आप देख रहे हैं ना, ये तो फ्रेंड्स इसके एक साइड है एलईडी ये वाली और दूसरी साइड एलडीआर है। तो जो इसके बीच में सर्कल है मैं आपको थोड़ा घुमा के भी दिखा रहा हूँ, आप देख सकते हैं ये घूम रहा है। एलईडी ये वाली और दूसरी साइड एलडीआर है।
See here, one side of the disc it is LED, another it is LDR. The sensors need not be potentiometer and rotary encoder what has been told in the classes. This may be cheaper one, that may be for costly items. Okay, any sensor is okay.
तो फ्रेंड्स इसके एक साइड है एलईडी ये वाली और दूसरी साइड एलडीआर है। तो जो इसके बीच में सर्कल है मैं आपको थोड़ा घुमा के भी दिखा रहा हूँ, आप देख सकते हैं ये घूम रहा है। तो इसमें क्या होता है कि जैसे एलईडी है, एलईडी की जो लाइट है वो एलडीआर के ऊपर पड़ेगी। वो कैसे पड़ेगी, जब सर्कल है ये मोटर घूमेगी तो इसके सर्कल में बीच में ट्रांसपेरेंट ऑफ होना वो सारी की सारी फीडबैक है और उसमें डार्क पार्ट आने पे लाइट स्टॉप हो जाएगी, आगे नहीं जाएगी एलडीआर के ऊपर, तो वो आउटपुट जीरो आउटपुट।
Selamat datang di channel. Kita pasang dulu. Ini kita pasang dulu. Tadi ini kebalik ya, jangan kebalik. Kalian membeli ada error encoder, motornya jangan dibuang.
An encoder is a device that disc is a photosensing device that will interpret the light based on the pattern on the disc. Picture a shutter blocking and unblocking the light. The pulses of light are then converted to an electrical signal to be sent back to the processor. Encoders have a wide range of uses that passes through a
स्वागत है आप सभी लोगों का मेरे चैनल S2T में। आज के शो साइंस थर्सडे में हम बात करेंगे इनकोडर्स के बारे में। हमने बात किया था पहले मोटर्स के बारे में, फिर बात किया न्यूमेटिक सिस्टम्स के बारे में, फिर बात किया हाइड्रोलिक सिस्टम के बारे में। अब बात करते हैं ये सारे रोबोटिक सिस्टम्स को बांधता कौन है, यानी कि इनकोडर्स के बारे में। तो आइए जानते हैं। तो आप ये समझिए कि कोई भी रोबोट आप बना रहे हैं, चाहे वेल्डिंग रोबोट हो, चाहे वो मेडिकल रोबोट हो, उसको पता कैसे चलेगा कि वो क्या कर रहा है? जैसे आपको पता है, आपने हाथ उठा
Just I missed the video. Okay, you can see here. Let us see this video.
Reading device. Encoders a device that converts the angular position or motion of a shaft or axle to an analog. Encoders, on the other hand, use a different word for each position, meaning that an absolute encoder provides both the indication.
A rotary encoder, also called a shaft encoder, can be used in positioning and motor speed feedback applications. In this video, we explain the function of an incremental rotary encoder. Incremental rotary encoders use disks which contains transparent sections that are equally spaced. A light-emitting diode serves as sender and its light is detected by a photodetector. Therefore, the encoder can generate a sequence of pulses. The output is measured in pulses per revolution, which can be used to determine either the position or the rotational speed. To detect the rotational sense, the encoder needs two tracks. The sense of rotation determines which signal coming from track A or track B is leading. Here, you can see the signal form coming from clockwise rotation. To have a comparison, you see now the signal form coming from counterclockwise rotation. Now the signal coming from...
See, when clockwise, A will be leading with respect to B. Anti-clockwise, A will be lagging. This is already explained in the rotary encoder class. I will put this link in that description of that class also.